Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
We're not seeing, and I don't think we will see, this national one-size-fits-all lockdown, but are states doing the right thing right now?
I was really pleased to see the governor of Michigan lay out what I thought was a very sensible plan. I think California is moving in the right direction. You don't need a national lockdown. What you need is targeted, focused efforts on the things that we know really are spreading the disease.
Which is what, by the way? I'm just curious. Because the spread seems to be happening. Great article in the Wall Street Journal today of how people are getting this in places they didn't think they would get it. And most of that are places like home. What do you do at home? I mean, honestly, at this point, what are you going to do? You're going to tell people, don't go home, wear a mask all the time? Surgery, hospitals. A lot of people are catching it in the hospital. At some point in time, we have to figure out, all right, how do we go about combating this thing where we don't live inside of a bubble by ourselves, which sounds stupid. But the reality is, at this point in time, the frustration is no matter, I think, what we do at this point in time, the spread from this thing is so much that every place, including the place that you live, the place where you shower, you eat, you see your family, your wife, your husband, your kids, may carry COVID. I don't know. Dr. Jha right there is like, we don't need a national lockdown. What I'd like to see is every state individually locked down. I'm kidding, of course. Some states are doing better. Some states are doing worse. Michigan and California were places where they've had really tough lockdowns, and that didn't seem to stop the spread at all.
It's good to see some states doing it, and I wish other states would follow suit quickly. Waiting is not a good strategy at this point. Everybody needs to move fast.
Yeah, move fast. Okay, so what is the plan? Every state's got its own plan. Every state has a plan that's out there that's available to them, and that plan is what for your state? For some states, Oregon, Governor Brown, let's shut everything down, basically. Other states, like yesterday I was on the phone and spoke to the president of the Navajo Nation, Jonathan Nez, and he said that they're instituting a serious crackdown on the reservation that includes basically 7 to 3. One person can leave the house and go to a store on the reservation. People are not going to be allowed to come in or leave the reservation unless it's absolute must. You're an essential worker and you work off of it. Outside of that, you are there. They will have police set up. There's a curfew. This is the plan they think that is going to help them. Every place is going to combat this thing differently. And it matters because so many other people out there are trying to figure out how to survive financially through the end of the year. I've got several friends that are struggling big time. Their businesses are essentially dead. They thought once we got through it, they held on long enough. Some of them, they realized that, look, this thing isn't going anywhere. I'm not going to continue to pour money, and I'm not going to continue to ask for loans to pay for something that I'm just trying to keep alive that I know is going to die. We'll have to live to fight another day. What is your state doing? Some states are coming at this in a much different way. They're getting harder. They're coming down hard, big time. Other states are doing their own thing. Like Gavin Newsom's a perfect example of why people have distrust in government. So if you guys don't know, Gavin Newsom is he looks like Christian Bale, and he's the governor of California. And the other day, while he's talking about locking down the state even more than it is already locked down. I was talking to my son yesterday, who got home. So he was out here with me for 3 weeks, spends 3 weeks out here having fun, running around, enjoying himself. We're a little bit more rural, so I'm not really worried too much about it, but he's enjoying himself. And he goes home and finds out that pretty much everything's closed now. Everything's at the point where it's just closed. He's frustrated because he knows there's no school. There's no hanging out with the friends. It is frustrating. So you got the governor who's closing things down, and he's having to apologize
That a few weeks ago, I was asked to go to a friend's 50th birthday. It was in Napa, which was in the orange status, relatively loose compared to some other counties. It was to be an outdoor restaurant. And as soon as I sat down at the larger table, I realized it was a little larger group than I had anticipated. And I made a bad mistake. Instead of sitting down, I should have stood up and walked back, got in my car, and drove to my house. Instead, I chose to sit there with my wife.
Yeah. You sat there with your wife, and that's the frustration that people have with government. Do as I say, not as I do. Oh, I need to preach, and I need to practice it.
You can quibble about the guidelines, et cetera, but the spirit of what I'm preaching all the time was contradicted, and I got to own that. And so I want to apologize to you because I need to preach and practice, not just preach and not practice. We're all human. We all fall short sometimes. We've been out, and I think for 3 times since, in fact, I know it's been 3 times because I remember all of those dinners very, very vividly.
And that's the frustration that people have with government right there. The Nancy Pelosi's, the Gretchen Whitmires going out and telling everybody not to do this, and then you go and do something. Every state's got to take into account who is their leader and what they're trying to do. And the frustration that people are having is they feel like they're losing more and more, but nothing seems to be happening at the top. And that nothing that seems to be proposed to them and then implemented seems to be working the way that so many experts have talked about when it comes to this damn virus. And then you've got people telling you, hey, guess what? For the holidays, let's really crack down. No more than 7 people, no more than 10 people, no more than 2 households, no more than 3. It is getting absolutely frustrating across the board for people. You should be pissed. You should. Because I think if we went back 8 months and played Monday morning quarterback, could we have done some things different? Absolutely. First thing we would have done is, would we have taken it serious, more serious? I think some people would. But I also think a lot of us would have said, okay, looking back on it, this isn't the deadliest thing that you have warned us about on a daily basis. We're going to mask up, but we're not going to shut down. We're going to use social distancing, but we're not going to close down. We're going to use our own judgment. Well, Chad, people can't. It's so funny when I say that. The personal responsibility. People say, well, government needs to take more of a play in our life when it comes to that, have more of a say, because people can't be responsible. You're responsible for you. If somebody else is irresponsible, that is a them problem. I'm frustrated because I'm seeing my friends, I'm seeing some family members who are struggling through no fault of their own, through poor leadership in both red and blue states, by the way. And both of them, no matter what they do, seem to be striking out. And it's getting frustrating. And as we head into this holiday season, right, we've got Thanksgiving in a week. We have got Christmas in about 5.5, 6 weeks. People are looking around thinking to themselves, am I going to make it? I saw a line yesterday in Texas. People were lining up to get food for Thanksgiving, to get a box of food for Thanksgiving. That is insane. A majority of those people, if you'd asked them at the beginning of the year, do you think you'd have to line up for a couple days so you can get a box of food for Thanksgiving to feed your family? They would have said, what is wrong with you? Do we have a nuclear war? No. We've had poor management across the board. Red state, blue state have failed. And yes, some people out there have failed as well. But I think at this moment in time, hoping the government's going to save us, hoping that something's going to come along and give us something that's amazing. At this point in time, you need to take more responsibility and realize that government's not the end all to be all. And they can create as much, if not more, chaos on a daily basis than you can by yourself. Common sense, not as common as it used to be. Damn it, we need more of it. We need more of it. And I'm getting frustrated. I think a lot of you are getting frustrated. I hear from you guys every single day. It is not a hoax. It is not a joke. What it is something that's real. But this is where, if you want to be an adult, This is where we become adults. If you want to be treated like a child, government will happily do that for you. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. I love hearing from all of you. Interesting. A guy tweeted at me yesterday, and I put a video out there, and we'll talk about it, on the world of common sense and how it's not as common as it used to be, and how open-mindedness it's almost a lost art. And we need to start bringing that thing back. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Shows your Twitter. We also got a poll. We'll touch on that. Car Shield gives you 24/7 roadside assistance, a rental car for yourself, right? While your car is in the shop. So you, being you, your car check engine light comes on. You're like, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? Well, I'll take it to a shop. Well, what shop are they going to tell me? You choose that shop because you've got Car Shield. They say it's going to be a couple days. Totally fine. Car Shield gets you a rental car. Then you find out it's going to be a couple $1,000s. You pay a small deductible. Car Shield gets them paid. It is that simple. Whether your car has 5,000 or 150,000 miles on it, Car Shield is a protection plan that is right for every single one of you. Payments are flexible, customizable. There's no contracts. There's none of this crazy stuff. It is just simple and easy. You can drive with confidence, not have to worry about, what happens if the check engine light comes on. They'll get you protected. Plans start as low as $99 a month. Get coverage today. See why Car Shield can go farther to protect you. 800-665-2157. Mention code Benson. Saves you 10%. Or go to carshield.com, carshield.com. Use that code Benson to save 10%. A deductible may apply. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show, where we reach across the aisle and occasionally poke someone in the eye.
ABC News has confirmed that Trump asked his senior advisors last week for options on attacking Iran's main nuclear site after a report detailed how the Iranians are increasing their stockpile of nuclear material. Vice President Mike Pence and Secretary of State Mike Pompeo were among the group who convinced the president not to pursue a military strike. The report coming as the Pentagon expects orders from President Trump by the end of this week to reduce troop levels in Afghanistan and Iraq by mid-January.
What in God's name are you thinking? Now, I have no doubt in my mind that Iran will get a nuclear weapon. And what's going to happen at that point in time is everybody else in that region will also have the opportunity to purchase a nuclear weapon, probably from us. We'll figure out a way to make sure that they've got stuff stockpiled over there as to thwart off the Iranians from deciding to become even a more dominant force in the region. It's kind of like, think about this, Pakistan and India. For those of you who don't know, both of them are nuclear powered. If one of them had nuclear weapons and the other one didn't, what you could run into is a bigger bully. So they're both nuclear powered. So what does that do? They decide it's better not to do any of these things. If Iran got a nuclear weapon, if it did, which I think it will, regardless if we get back into this thing or not, if Iran got a nuclear weapon, they could, in theory, become the dominant force in the region. Because that is a region that lives and literally dies by force, and that's terrifying. I'm glad we didn't do this. Biden's going to have to figure it out. For those of you who think, oh, my God, I have a feeling there's going to be some more stringent rules. The problem is, like everything else, it doesn't matter if we don't enforce them. And it also doesn't matter if we give them opportunity and time when we want to go, quote unquote, investigate. Days and weeks of a heads up. Chuck Schumer he was against the Iran nuclear deal. He's like, this is the dumbest thing ever. Really, Chuck? Yeah. Chuck Schumer was. He thought it was dumb. He thought what we were doing was ridiculous. I never had a problem with us pulling out of the nuclear deal because I realized at the end of the day, whether we're in it or not, they're going to continue to push forward. And we're going to continue to be in a situation much like we were in the early 90s with North Korea. Allow them to have somewhat of a seat at the table, welcome them back from the wilderness, and they'll lie all the way to a nuclear weapon. And we can't be stupid about it. Because what happens at that point in time? You have a country that every once in a while saber rattles to get the things that they want. The one thing about North Korea is they're semi-isolated comparatively to a place like Iran, where they could cause hell in an already unstable area. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Before we went to break, we were talking about Gavin Newsom and the governor of California and the way that he went out and went to a big dinner at a place called the French Laundry. If you don't know what that is, it is beyond shishi. It's $350 a person. I think it's a 13 or 14 course meal, which means basically when you hear that, it's one bite of something on several different sized plates with garnish and lots of sauce made very artistic. And then you have to buy your appetizers, and they probably don't have chicken wings. And then on top of that, your alcohol. And I don't have a problem with what Gavin Newsom did. My problem with a lot of these politicians is you go out and tell everybody, don't do this, and you do it. If you go and do it and you're not preaching to everybody, I got zero problems with that. The Nancy Pelosi's of the world, telling everybody, don't go out, don't get your hair did, don't do any of these things, be safe, and then she goes and does it. Those kind of things show me exactly what the life is that they want to lead. They want to come with these bizarre, crazy things, scream about social justice. They want to make everything equal to the point of if we could try to legislate the outcome as equal, that'd be fantastic. But I do not want to live under any of these things that I propose. That's my frustration with our leaders. They tell you one thing and do another. I have no problem with them doing their thing. Just don't tell me how to live my life. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Tell you guys what. Yesterday, had a conversation with a guy. Hit me up on the old Twitter webs. Basically accusing me of being, this insane liberal because, I won't tell him how many dead people have voted and how Trump was cheated out of everything. And like everything, I try to answer everybody. And of course, what do I always say? If you start by insulting me, we're not going to have a conversation. He got to the point where it's insulting me. I'm a spineless person. I'm an idiot and all of those things. You can't have a conversation because the thing, he goes, you never answer my questions. I said, you answer one question. Where's your proof? Well, I can't prove it. So where's your proof? That's it. I'm not saying something hasn't happened, but would like to see proof. I would absolutely like to see proof. And people get pissed. And what did I say yesterday? Challenge yourself. Go against the grain of which you believe and challenge yourself. It's not a hard thing to do. Not asking for you to go out there and throw everything you believe in because you believe it's okay. So Chad told me that everything I believe in is false. No. What I'm saying is try to debunk your belief system in something, whether it is that Trump had the elections stolen or that maybe COVID, for those of you out there who think this is the deadliest disease in the world, isn't really as deadly as the media has made it out. Challenge yourself. And it's tough because when you ask somebody to do that, what you're asking them to do nowadays, because we identify strictly in our belief. So if you like Trump, your belief is I am a Trump supporter, period, case closed, end of story. There is nothing else about me that is human. I am nothing else. If you're a believer in COVID being beyond deadly, you've wrapped yourself up in that thing that you believe only in this, and that challenge yourself. Maybe it's not as real. And it's tough because people don't want to, because much like that Saturday Night Lights skit, 2-3 weeks ago, what was it about? Well, they're talking about, well, if Trump loses, me disliking Trump, me hating Trump is my identity. And for people out there, that is true. And for some people out there, the other side of it is their being a Trump supporter has become their identity. It's ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous. Challenge yourself. So he got into it with me. And of course, I'm a bad guy, as always, because that's basically what I'm about. I'm just a bad guy. And some of the stuff he said to me was hilarious. Talking about, this is great. Talking about his kids and how his kids, he goes, enjoy your life, Mr. No Answer. Just Democrat trash. This country's screwed thanks to people like you. I'm glad I'm raising my boys who can kick some ass when need be. What are you talking about? Like, exactly what it is are you talking about? So your kids are kick-assers and you're raising them that way? You need to relax. Nothing's being taken away from you. Nothing. But when you challenge him over and over, or anybody, show me the proof. Rarely do people want to do that. They want it to be simple and easy. And we talk about information over affirmation. Go and find the information you think is relevant to your argument. But find the information, not what you want to be relevant.
Court cases out there, Jake.
I looked into a bunch of them, They're nonsense because the standard of evidence in a courtroom is a little higher than on Twitter. As Donald Trump says, we don't have any observers in that Philadelphia Convention Center counting room. And then somebody tries to present that in court and the judge says, how many do you have? How many observers? And the lawyer sheepishly says, we have this is a quote, there's a non-zero number of observers.
So some. And I believe the judge then said, get the out.
Right.
That's the things that are happening. And when you present things to people who want it to be true, because they've wrapped up their life in this, I am this or I am that, and this is my identity, and it's not my identity, but I'm going to pretend like it's not, but the reality is I am. When you wrap it up like that, and no matter what you show them to be, really to juxtapose what is going on, to say, well, here's some other evidence. What they'll say is everybody's got an excuse. Everybody. And this is life, right? You're overweight. Everybody's got an excuse. It's my thyroid. Oh, I just don't have the time. I just don't have, there is always something out there that gives somebody an excuse. It's about personal responsibility. And the same thing goes for your belief. If you're interested in the truth, you can find it. Is it always going to be 100% the truth? No. Is it always easy to find? Not in today's world, because today's world's all about serving niche marketplaces. Becoming, when I was a trader and I traded commodities, I was good at the sales side of it. And we had a really good guy that I worked with, who's my business partner, Lars, who ran a hedge fund, and he did a bunch of different things. He was great at trading. And he was very niche oriented. He had 2 or 3 things he traded. He goes, I don't need to be an expert in all of these other things. I need to find what I'm good at, and that's what I'm going to be good at. That's the same thing with today's information affirmation world. Too much information, people get bogged down, or they'll, So instead, I have a belief system. I want to serve my belief system, so I'm going to serve that, and I'm going to go to the places that are going to serve me the right way that I want it. If you're serious about finding out the truth, and that's to be the only thing that matters, you can do it. If you only want to hear your side of an argument, it's like playing a baseball game where you're the only team that gets to bat. If that's what you want, There's plenty of places to serve that. For me, I'm never going to fall in love with a politician. I've said that over and over. I'm as independent. I'm as skeptical as can be, but I'm open-minded. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. It is big. It is out there. It is languishing. It is called student debt. Biden getting hit up as he kind of releases some of his economic plans. One of them's about student debt.
Canceling student loan debt. Does student loan forgiveness figure in your plan? Would you take executive action to achieve it?
It does figure in my plan. I've laid out in detail. For example, the legislation passed by the Democratic House calls for immediate $10,000 forgiveness of student loans. It's holding people up. They're in real trouble. They're having to make choices between paying their student loan and paying their rent, those kinds of decisions. It should be done immediately.
Yeah, should be done immediately. Look, this is the way I look at student debt. Like, if my son was ready to go to college today, I would tell him, take a year or two, maybe a little bit more. Live your life, get a job, see what it's like out in the real world. Don't make the biggest financial decision of your life at 18 years old, unless you're going there with a scholarship or minimal amounts of loans that you're going to take out. Don't make that. And even if you are outside of a sports scholarship, even if you are, go see what you want to do with your life. How many people listening right now have gone to college, and then after getting out of college, or most of the way through, you decided you didn't like the major you took, but you go out into the real world, you're out there for a few years in a job you can't stand, and then you realize this is what I want to do, and now I have to go back and do it again. Find out what it is that you want to do before you make that kind of commitment. And no, it's not free. And we shouldn't be telling every kid they need to go to school. It's nuts.
In addition to that, if you know, I think that everything from community college, making sure that we have access, free education for anyone making under $125,000 for 4 years of college. And there is a program that exists now under the law that forgives student loans for being able to engaging in public service. So I'm going to do all of those things.
You're going to try to do all of those things. Bernie, of course, it's never enough.
When you talk about raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour, when you're talking about...
By the way, the minimum wage is it's so stupid. It really is. And Bernie talks about the Scandinavian. By the way, if you look at the Scandinavian world, there is no minimum wage over there. The Scandinavian law. There's no minimum wage. Now, they have higher wages. They also have higher prices. They have higher taxes. But there isn't any minimum wage because a young kid coming in, you shouldn't get $15 an hour. You're not worth $15 an hour. You're giving me $6 an hour of output, and I'm losing $9 an hour out of you. I'd rather pay this person over here $16 or $18 who can do that because they're giving me more and pay you less while you learn. And that should be the employers, the people that are paying the people. That should be their decision. But government, of course, wants to have more and more of their hands in your world.
Expanding health care to all people as a human right. When you talk about effectively taking on climate change, when you talk about making public colleges and universities tuition-free, these are not far-left ideas. These are common-sense ideas that the majority of the American people support, and we're going to fight to make sure that they're implemented.
No, what they are is they sound great. Like everything. Like if I was to tell you today, so there's three of us, and I was to tell you, I'm going to give you everything your heart desires. You're going to get free college. You're going to get free health care. You're going to get all of the basic life needs taken care of, plus. You'd be like, that's fantastic. And then I look over the person next to him and go, and you're going to help pay for it. Wait, what? Because that person that says, well, that does sound good. Well, you're going to help pay for it. What do you mean I'm going to help pay for it? And then over there, you're going to help pay for it. And then you're going to help pay for it. We all love the sound of better climate, right? And all of these things. Remember that big study they did last year when it came to climate change, and they found out the average person would spend about $90 a year to help climate change? Because it all sounds great until it affects your life. It all sounds fantastic until it affects your life. And guess what? Then when you find out it's costing you exponentially, and you get a little frustrated. You do. Look, I think we got to do much better with healthcare. I think tuition is completely overpriced because I think, quite frankly, college is overpriced and it's outdated. The mode of college is ridiculous. I wouldn't send a kid to school today right out of high school. Go live your life. Find out what you want to do. Go find out what it's, because tell you what, when you enter school at 23 and you lived your life and you paid some bills and you've been out there and you see how the world acts, you're not as impressionable as an 18-year-old is coming in listening to some professor chatter on about a bunch of nonsense. No, you're there and you know what you want to do. Smart things. Shouldn't be hard. We make everything hard in this country because we enjoy that. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Put a poll question up. Pretty simple. Christmas, holiday season, Hanukkah. Are you going to spend more? You're going to spend less. What are you planning to spend? 4% say more. 39% say same. 32% say less. 24% you say bah humbug. Tweet at me, text the show, take the poll at Chad Benson Show. Raycon, amazing earbuds, totally affordable. The gift that lasts forever. And you will love these things. You're going to use them every day. I use mine. Noise isolating fit, seamless Bluetooth pairing, comfortable isolation with the fit that matters the most because it makes everything else even that much better. You can start listening right away, listen for hours. The audio quality through the roof, incredible. And when you look at these and compare them to other brands that are premium brands with the names and the stems and the wires, and you find out you're paying $250 or $175 and you're paying under $100 for these, you're going to be like, wow. Pick a pair up for yourself. Great holiday gifts. You're going to love these things. Christmas, little stocking stuffers. Go to buyraycon.com/Chad today. What are you going to get? You're going to unlock 20% off your Raycon order. Hurry. Available limited time. Buyraycon.com/Chad to get 20% off your order right now. Buyraycon.com/Chad. Chad Benson Show.
I can't take it anymore!
Well, get over it. It's time to forge a new path with your very own political cartographer, Chad.
Was the night before Life Day.
Starting today, you can get to the holiday spirit, the Lego spirit, and the Star Wars spirit at the same time. The Lego Star Wars Holiday Special features your favorite characters from Chewbacca to Baby Yoda and, of course, C-3PO, voiced by Anthony Daniels, who says this special is coming at exactly the right time.
Because as well as the drama of it all, the adventure and the crazy characters, you have this basic feeling of love and family and hope.
The Lego Star Wars Holiday Special is out now on Disney+.
Yeah, I might watch that. I like those Lego movies. It should be fun. I do. I enjoy the holidays. Last night I got into my hotel room and I watched a little football, but then I got sucked into a Candace Cameron Bure, Christmas movie, and I couldn't watch. I got my on-air partner on my other show, my local show. He goes, hey, I watched one of those Hallmark things. It was so cheesy. I love it. I want to watch more. You get sucked into those things. I love Christmas music. Especially now. I think we need it most. I was rocking out the little Brenda Lee last night. And I do say little. For those of you guys who don't know Brenda Lee, rocking around the Christmas tree. Have a Christmas. Here's something. She was 9 years old when she started performing for real. She was 13 when she sang Rocking Around the Christmas Tree. And she's only like 4'6". Still alive, by the way. Still alive. Useless Christmas knowledge right there. She had a bunch of other hits. And that thing has charted on numerous occasions throughout the years, including last year where it sold another God knows how many in the space of a very few days and got another 40 million views. She was wee tiny. She is. She's like 4'6", 75 years old. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Speaking of Christmas, your Black Friday sales, Walmart's released some of their goodies. as far as what you're going to have a chance. They got great stuff. Kitchen, home and floor care. The Bissell 3-in-1 lightweight corded stick vacuum, less than $20. Boom! TVs. 50-inch television. 50-inch 4K Samsung, $327. You save $102. The 77-inch classic OLED C9 series from LG, $3,500. You save $3,500. Laptops under $400, including the HP 14-inch Intel Core i3, and lots of toys. People are going to be saving money. People are still going to shop. They're just going to do a lot more online than they thought. But people are still going to want to get into those stores and see and feel and take a peek. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Poll question: how much are you going to spend this year? More or less this holiday season? Majority of you are spending about the same or less. Few of you are spending more, and about a quarter of you are bah humbugging the whole thing. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
If, in fact, we're going to have Thanksgiving with anyone, that we limit it to a maximum of 10 people, socially distanced, wearing masks, and people who have quarantined. So Jill and I spent this morning, like many of you, trying to figure out what are we going to do for Thanksgiving. And we've narrowed down which family members and that they were tested, recently tested in 24 hours.
Wait, what? It's not going to happen. The average person isn't going to do that. You're not asking your mom to go get tested. You're not going to go get tested. You do the best that you possibly can. This is about being completely honest with yourself, saying, look, I can take some calculated risk. If I went to a concert last night, if there was one, and nobody was wearing the mask, or we're dancing up and down, or we're smashing into each other, then you know what? Maybe I shouldn't go. But if I go to work and to home, I do very little in the actual going and interacting with a bunch of people that are strangers. This is the stuff that drives people crazy. And it's too late to quarantine, by the way. That was last week. We are, 9 days away from Thanksgiving? It's too late. That ship sailed. That ship sailed. And I will reiterate this. Testing is great, but it is only good for the moment that you test, and that is it. So unless you get back almost an instantaneous test, so you test right now, and within a few minutes you get it back, and that way you know for certain, as long as you don't go anywhere else, and you go inside a hermetically sealed bubble, that you can then feel safe that you don't have it. If you test today and you get it back and you're negative, but you're not going to go see grandma and grandpa and everybody till next Thursday for the holidays, but you've got a negative test. I've got a negative test, Chad. Look at it right here in my hands. And then you go. But since then, you've been to the market 3 or 4 times. Maybe you met for dinner with a couple of your buddies at a place, even though it was outdoors, it was somewhere else. You've done a couple different things, and you've continued to go on to work and maybe with a client here or there. Nothing outrageous, nothing close to what it'd be like normally, but you've done those things. Guess what? Along the way, something could have happened. Along the way, something could have happened. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not wearing a mask inside my own house. This isn't going to happen. It isn't. At this point, I don't know what to say. And it's driving everybody crazy. I mean, the good news yesterday was about the vaccine, and the vaccine's coming out, but then you're already hearing people stepping back, going, I'm not quite sure I want to take the vaccine.
The biggest question for me is, are people going to want to get it? It is one of the biggest concerns for me, because the survey data I've been seeing is that there is a lot of of fear about the vaccines that have come through for a number of reasons. There have been growing vaccine hesitancy in the country, but also all of the politics around how things get approved. The percentage of people who've been saying, I want to wait on this, has been growing and growing.
Now, there are three types of people when it comes to the vaccine. You've got the first type, which are the vax deniers, right? And these are the three types of people that won't take the vaccine. The average person will take it. But out of these three, you've got the people that won't take it because Jenny McCarthy told them several years ago for whatever reason, then it became this thing. And then you've got the people that believe that Bill Gates is going to put a chip inside your body and, you know, they've been on QAnon and that if you do this, essentially, you're going to become some sort of Manchurian candidate. Oh, I don't even know. And then you've got the third, which is just a normal person who's a little hesitant, will more than likely take it, but wants to see what the side effects are. Somebody asked me yesterday, would you take it? I'm like, yeah, I got no problem. Producer for my other local show, Lloyd, walks in. He goes, hey, Chad, would you take this thing today? Somebody walked in and tried to give it to you. I'm like, well, hold on a second. Let's describe what that means. Somebody off the street in regular clothes walks in with a syringe and says, I've got the vaccine, take it. Or I go down to my doctor's or wherever and they're distributing it because they have it. Yeah, I'll take that. I have no problem with that. I got zero problems with that. Some of the side effects people are talking about, lady who's got this, taken it, gone through with Moderna.
My arm was stiff. I work out with a personal trainer, and I couldn't lift 8 pounds over my head without feeling some pain.
All right, so you got a little stiffness there. I get that, totally fine, right around the area where you got the shot, not both arms.
Then I was really tired. I took a nap, like at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, you're not going to get me to go against that. I'll take a nap. You want to give me a nap, count me in. You can expect that there will be some discomfort, right? Sore around the arm where you get it, maybe a little lethargic. You want to take a nap. Your body's being introduced to something that is foreign. It's working overtime. What's going on? Who are you? What are you all about? What are you doing here? You here to help? You here against us? What are you doing? Right? So everybody relax. But I understand. And people say, well, why would you take this thing? I say, well, you know what? I'm over it. I think we've gone long enough. And by the way, I have no fear that it's the Trump vaccine. Trump didn't do this. Trump didn't put it together. Trump wasn't sitting there like Beaker from the Muppets, right? And the doctor in the lab going over things, putting it together. He wasn't doing any of that. There was none of that stuff happening. This is Pfizer, Moderna. These aren't startup companies that started a week ago. These are real companies who aren't going to release something to the public that is going to do what? Destroy their stock. Right? It's just not going to happen. Everybody needs to slow your roll. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from you. I do. Afghanistan, will we or won't we leave? One of the things that Trump's wanted to do. You can have a disdain for him. I got zero problems with that. You can like the policies but hate the attitude. Zero problems with that. But he has kept some of his promises. And now bringing home the troops, I've got no problems with that. Now, will we always have to have some places to try to potentially slow down what could be a horrific situation, a destabilization? Yes. But places like Afghanistan,
Orders will be given on Friday to reduce the number of troops in Afghanistan and Iraq. Right now, we have about 4,500 troops in Afghanistan and about 3,000 in Iraq, and the reductions in those places will go down to 2,500. Now, there's been a lot of talk that the president wanted to get all troops out. I know he got pushback on that.
Yeah, he did. And oddly enough, it was who? Oh, it was people that live for the fact that we have this giant industrial complex when it comes to our military, and to leave these places, which are essentially their oil wells, if you will, is not something that they're thrilled by. You want to see what it would be like to have an amazing healthcare system where everybody gets something free? How about we draw down a lot of this stuff, stop getting involved in other people's issues? protect our allies, but also voice to the people who may be our enemies that we don't need to put troops on the ground to make you non-existent. Understand that. Let's go over that again. You attack one of our allies. You no longer exist. See the way that works? You attack an ally, you were turned into a glass factory. What's Biden say?
Joe Biden doesn't want a whole lot of U.S. presence there either, and honestly really never has. He's wanted a counterterrorism force, meaning that you kind of keep an eye on them. If you see trouble or if an area of the country is bad, then you can kind of go in there and take care of that. It's a counterterrorism approach rather than keeping a large number of troops on the ground.
And I'm totally fine with that. Because we do need to watch certain areas because we don't want them in other places to take advantage of people that would be seen as allies or destabilize a region so they can get to certain things and do certain things. But we do not need to spend endless amounts of years in places like Afghanistan where nobody will be successful. The minute we leave, the minute that we're eventually gone, they'll set up shop again and they'll go through the same thing. They want to live like it's the 1200s, knock yourself out. Once again, remind them that there will be no more boots on the ground. There won't be any of these things. Eventually, we will get out of there. But also remind them at the end of the day, what comes from here, even if it's not your country, you will be held responsible. See the way that works? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Guess what, kids? We docked.
Welcome to the ISS. We can't wait to have you on board.
The SpaceX Crew Dragon Resilience docking at the International Space Station.
Hard capture is complete. Dragon is officially attached to the International Space Station.
Making history as the first fully operational crewed mission for SpaceX and an important joint venture with NASA, returning spaceflight to America and making sure the ISS can stay fully staffed. One of the crew members on board, Victor Glover, becomes the first black astronaut to live on board the ISS, staying there with his team for the next 6 months.
6 months. Yoda's there.
Inside the cabin, we have our 4 astronauts.
5, actually. We've got Baby Yoda on board trying to take a seat right now.
Baby Yoda made it. Didn't they bump into something, Phil? Wasn't as smooth as we thought? A little hard landing?
They had some issues with the heaters for the fuel, but they took care of that.
Took care of that. Okay, good. Want to make sure everything's good. Want to make sure they get themselves back safe and sound. But we're back, baby, and that's what matters. And one of them is going to be sworn into Space Force. Space Force. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Twitter. Speaking of Twitter, we've got a poll question about the holidays as they fast approach. Hanukkah, Christmas, and the likes. What are you going to be spending this year? What does that look like for you? 3% of you say you're going to spend more. 35% say about the same as last year. 36% say less than previous years. And 25% say bah humbug. What say you? 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Speaking of spending money, how about getting something for free from my friends at Rough Greens? I'm going to give you a bag for free. $30 value. You pay shipping. It comes directly to you. You can now try it out. Same thing I use in my dog Doodles. Sprinkle it on your dog's food. I sprinkle it on Doodles and the puppy's food. They eat it up and they love it. It's not dog food. It's a supplement. It's got vegetables, vitamins, minerals, omega-3, 6, 9s, probiotics, and so many other things that bring your dog's food to life. And it helps with the day-to-day aches and pains. And it has made a difference in Doodles' life. My dog has got arthritic hips. He's got fatty tumors. He is not any way, shape, or form what he was 7-8 months ago, when just the thought of petting him, he was going to get nippy with you and bite you. Doesn't happen now. And I love that. Put it to the test. roughgreens.com/Chad. $30 value. Not going to cost you anything. You pay for shipping. They're sending it to you for free. ruffgreens.com/Chad. roughgreens.com/Chad. Try it for yourself. 30 days free. You pay shipping. Rough Greens, we make any pet food better. Chad Benson Show.
If you like talk radio like Chad Benson likes his meals, you've come to the perfect place for takeout.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, ignition, liftoff.
Now it's time to find out what's trending. What's trending? Yeah, what does that mean? I mean something, right? Like it's trending on the old internet. What's trending? Let's take a look on the old internet, shall we? See what's trending. Big stuff trending on the Twitter. Mouthwash containing 0.07% of ingredient. I'm going to try to say this, and it's going to come out horribly wrong, but bear with me. Cetylphydanum chloride. Cetylphydanum chloride shows promising signs of reducing COVID-19 in saliva. What? Georgia trending. Because apparently the Georgia Secretary of State says Lindsey Graham and other Republicans are pressing him to exclude ballots in the recount. Dolly Parton donated money that helped developed Moderna is trending. Fact checking. Did she do that? My goodness. Apparently there was the Dolly Parton COVID-19 Research Fund. Funding disclosures. So it looks like her fund may have. Could you imagine that? Could you imagine, like, you go to heaven? God's like, hey, what happened? You guys got the vaccine now. I got it too late. But you know who saved us? Who? Dolly Parton. Get out of town. Oh, yeah. Head on over to Google. The Google. Oh, this is great. Lindsey Graham still trending number one. Because the claim is that he pressured Georgia and the Secretary of State to exclude stuff. Moderna stock also trending. Gavin Newsom's considering a curfew. And the election results are still trending. Because people are trying to figure out, where are we going? Like, is this happening? Because, like, you're saying it's not happening, but I feel like it's happening. Are you sure? Yeah, I think it's going to happen. Are you positive? I think it's going to happen. But are you sure? I'm sure. Now, if I say this again, if there is evidence of bad things, then you bring it to light, you run it through the system, and then when all of that comes out, you unleash on the party that has done something. Did Graham suggest it?
Republican Senator Lindsey Graham facing allegations he asked Georgia's Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger to throw out legally cast mail-in ballots. Some say to try and help President Trump win, but Senator Graham denies it.
I never said that. I said, do you have power as Secretary of State to require bipartisan verification of the signature? Because right now they don't.
Senator Graham says it was just a conversation.
If he feels threatened by that conversation, he's got a problem. I actually thought it was a good conversation.
Secretary of State says he's come under pressure from Republicans to exclude ballots, something only a court can do, and has even received death threats.
Which is stupid because we live in a world of emotions. I don't know. And look, and what do we always talk about nowadays? It's not how something is said, it's how it's taken. Could Lindsey Graham be innocent in this? Yeah, but the guy's getting so much pressure from people, in particular Republicans, or could he be guilty of something? That too. Not guilty of anything, was going to go to jail, but just the thought of that is ridiculous. Let the man do his job. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. It's the Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
We're not seeing, and I don't think we will see, this national one-size-fits-all lockdown. But are states doing the right thing right now?
I was really pleased to see the governor of Michigan lay out what I thought was a very sensible plan. I think California is moving in the right direction. You don't need a national lockdown. What you need is targeted, focused efforts on the things that we know really are spreading the disease.
So what is spreading the disease? Contact with humans, so we can stop that craziness right now. That's just the best way to do it. My goodness. The more that we do that, the better it is. No, we can't do that because we're human beings. And I think if one thing we've learned out of all of this is, and this is something we should absolutely pay attention to, is that we're a species that needs other species. Now, there are exceptions. There are people that are not as friendly, people who don't mind being alone. I think being alone is a good thing. Having time to yourself. I got zero problems. I think that, but we're a species that needs people. But when you start to look at where people are getting sick, you're like, what do we do with the latest surge? What do we do with the fact that people are catching this in places they didn't think you would catch it? They're catching it at home. The hospital is another place they're catching this thing tremendously. So people are going in the hospital for something else, and they're catching COVID. So there's a lot of different places that you would think, oh, my goodness. So what do we do? No, there's not a one-size-fits-all. There is no magic strategy. I think the best thing that we do is just understand that we do the best we can to have personal responsibility, understanding it's not about you. It's about other people. Whether it makes them feel good and gives them confidence to come out and live their lives, or whether or whether you believe that this mask doesn't do anything, but you know what? I'm going to do it because it makes people feel good, or just the act of wearing a mask, if it can stop something spreading a little bit here or there, whatever you believe. I wear the mask because I respect the people around me. They've asked me to do it, and I do it. I take personal responsibility. Absolutely. I look around and say, what is my responsibility to my neighbors, to my friends, to the people I work with? How can I be most responsible? And the same thing goes if I'm sick and I had the flu, right? Like, it's a little personal. There's nothing wrong with personal responsibility. But we do have an issue here. And what you're seeing is this thing is spreading in places that we may not be able to stop it unless we just tell people, you just can't have anybody in your house, which is it's where I draw the line. My car, a park, yes, my home, I draw the line there. We'll continue to do so. Now, your place of business, totally fine, right? Like we've said this, and I'll use the analogy again. If Costco wants you to wear top hat and tails on Tuesdays to get into Costco, otherwise you can't come into Costco, regardless if there's a pandemic, an endemic, a demidemic, regardless of any of that, but their dress code on that day is top hat and tails to buy 14 gallons of mayonnaise. That's what you have to wear. It's your business. There isn't one size fits all, but the best thing that we can do is just have some personal responsibility. Shouldn't be that hard. It shouldn't. But a lot of people, that's tough. And then you've got people talking about the denial of this thing, about it even existing.
Even now, the hospital is being overrun with COVID patients. They come in, they're horribly ill, they're gasping for breath, and yet they don't believe they have COVID.
People are still looking for something else, and they don't want to believe that COVID is real. And their last dying words are, this can't be happening, it's not real. And when they should be spending time FaceTiming their families, they're filled with anger and hatred. And it just made me really sad the other night. And I just can't believe that those are going to be their last thoughts and words.
Some people have lost their life because they didn't believe it was real. I think most people, most sane people, you got a lot of people out there just like, it's just all, deep state stuff. But most people, they understand it's real. Now, have we been fed across the board this insanity that if you get this thing, it's essentially the end of the world and you're going to die? Yes. Have we been told by the media through their panic porn that this thing is ultimately the killer of killers? We have. And that's not been true. You know it and I know it. It hasn't been true. But it is serious and it's real. So we just look at this on how that we go about doing what? Taking personal responsibility as we fight these things. Study out says that people who deny it tend to catch it. Because why? They put themselves in situations where they shouldn't.
Anger and hatred towards you?
Yeah, a belief that it's not real, and nursing happens to be on the receiving end of that. And that's okay. We can take that. That's what you're there for. It's just in the bigger picture when you try to reason with people of, can I call your family, your kids, your wife, your friend, your brother? And they say no, because I'm going to be fine. And you're watching their oxygen levels, maxed out on what we call vapotherm at 100%, and their oxygen level might be 75. That's not really that compatible with life. And we know where that's going to head.
Yeah, you do. So it's crazy. It is crazy. And I've talked to people who wanted to argue about this. Now, 99.5% of people, and just to throw it out there, even older people with compromised immune systems, not just more often not, a vast majority of them will survive this. Some of them will have other issues. I have a friend of the family. We've grown up together. Their parents both got it. And they are both like uber unhealthy. Like you could not believe. Didn't feel a thing. Crazy. And one of my little brother's friends got it. Was really sick for a couple weeks. Now, he never thought he was going to die. Didn't go to the hospital. But it knocked him on his ass. So we need to be real, but we also need to be respectful. Shouldn't be that hard. We make it hard because we put politics in things, and that's when things go south. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet and text the program. Love hearing from you. Got a poll question up. We'll touch on that. Have you ever wondered to yourself, if only I knew what my cat was thinking, if only my cat could talk, I wonder what the cat would say. Ha ha!
Ever wonder what your cat is trying to tell you? Well, now you might be able to find out. A former Amazon engineer has created an app to translate cat meows into words that humans can understand. According to NBC affiliate King 5, after working on Amazon Alexa, Javier Sanchez is now a project manager with the tech company Aquilon and is developing an app called Meow Talk.
Yeah, so it's Meow Talk, right? So this is what I think you would ask your cat. Hey, Mr. Flufferkins, how are you? Really? I don't think we need to use that language, Mr. Flufferkins. Mr. Flufferkins, what did you do today? I don't think you need to talk about my mother that way. I don't think that's very nice. I really don't. I don't even know if I want you as a pet. And the same to you. At this point in time, I'm getting a dog, Mr. Flufferkins. Yeah, right back at you, buddy. That's what I feel like a cat would say. We can't put it on the air because it sounds like a rap album.
According to Sanchez, meowing is actually not a language. He explains that cats, quote, don't share words or communicate with each other. Cats never meow at each other out in nature. But through research, Sanchez and his colleagues have found out that cats have 9 types of intent that they try to relay to humans when they meow at us. And each intent has its own kind of meow. Sanchez is working to decode these intents into phrases that humans can understand, like I am hungry or I am in pain.
Yeah, I'm hungry. I'm in pain. You're a... Well, I don't really know if we need that kind of language, right? I don't know. You clean yourself with that tongue?
You can also teach the app to learn your cat's unique vocabulary as well. Meow Talk is currently under development, but a prototype is available for Apple and Android phones. Sanchez also hopes to one day develop a collar that instantly translates your cat as it's speaking.
Meow. Meow. Meow.
Yeah, I don't think we need that. You can kind of tell what your cats, like Phil, you've got cats, right? You can kind of tell what they don't need to speak. They kind of give it to you body language.
Absolutely, they do.
Hey, I knocked that candle off because I wanted to. You, Richard, huh? What do you think of those apples? By the way, you remember how you went away for 2 weeks, right? And you left me here, and you let somebody come over the house, and they were kind of weird, right? I didn't like that, so I did a bunch of crap to your bedroom, and I just want you to be prepared for that. And don't look at me or touch me ever until I say it's okay. Thank you. We're putting down little ground rules here. I know. I get it. Trebek. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Car Shield gives you 24/7 roadside assistance, a rental car for free while your car's in said shop. You choose the shop. They get them paid directly. Even if you're on vacation, your car breaks down, right? Off to grandma and grandpa's you go. Car has an issue. You're 300 miles away. You're like, what am I going to do? Car Shield's got you covered. Whether your car's 5,000 or 15,000, 150,000, a trillion miles on it, Car Shield's there for you. Flexible plans, customizable, right? 24/7 nationwide. Roadside assistance. That's huge. Plus, and I love this, that rental car, if your car's in the shop for 3 days, you don't want to ride share. No, not in this day and age. I'll give a hard pass. Having that rental car is huge, right? No long-term commitments, no contracts. Plans start as low as $99 a month. Over 1 million drivers. Over 1 million. That's why they're America's #1 auto protection company. Plans start as low as $99. Drive with confidence, like I do. Love it. Have it on my cars. Knowing that if anything happens, you're protected. Get coverage today. See why Car Shield goes farther and farther. 800-665-2157. 800-665-2157. Mention code Benson or visit carshield.com, carshield.com. When you use code Benson, you save 10%. A deductible may apply. Chad Benson Show.
You stink like fear and white male privilege to me.
I do often out myself verbally as a gender. My pronouns are they, them, and I'm proud to be a gender.
Are you stupid? What? Are you kidding me?
Not a great way to use your white privilege.
Some people get it, some people don't.
You're listening to The Chad Benson Show.
Comedian Sinbad is recovering from a stroke, his family said in a statement Monday morning. They shared that the 64-year-old is beginning his road to recovery, and they are faithful and optimistic that he will bring laughter into our hearts again soon. No other details on his condition. Sinbad was one of the most popular comedians in the 90s.
When your shoes hurt, you look at women different. Girl, I feel you.
With acting roles on several shows from a different world to most recently the Fox sitcom Rel.
Man, you haven't heard anything about Sinbad. I was reading about this yesterday, and somebody in the room as we were prepping for the local show says, I didn't even know he's alive. I haven't heard anything about that. So, Sinbad. Start feeling that. You know, you get a little bit older. I'll be 50 this year. I'll be 50 in a month almost. And I won't lie. I mean, it's weird, right? It's a trip. You know, I'm looking around, and I'm thinking to myself, yeah, you know, I got a bunch of my friends turned 50 this year. And, you know, when you're 20, you think, well, 50, that's a dream. Right? Then you get to 30 and like, well, 40 isn't going to happen to me. And you get to 40 and you start thinking to yourself, well, this is real. And you get to 50 and you start thinking, okay, it's like either I'm just reached the top and I'm on the other side of it and the halftime is over, or, you know, I'm playing the final few holes. You keep yourself healthy. You might live another 30, 40 years, which is great with technology. But, yeah, you think about this, like 64. That doesn't seem like I'm closer to 70. This, like in a month, I'll be closer to 70 than I will be 30. And that is a trip. It is. Take care of yourself, right? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Got a poll question up about how much money are you going to spend this holiday season? Most of you are saying less than previous. Some of you are bah humbugging. But on average, 38% are saying less than previous. 32% say same as last year. About 3% say more. 26% say bah humbug. And I think to myself, yeah, I think that's, and I think some of it is, even if you have money, you don't know what 2021 is going to look like. So you're hesitant to spend any like you would. If you look around and you think to yourself, okay, my job is good. It's not going anywhere. I have some money in the bank. And I've talked to a lot of people who have done well through this. And we were talking about, there's an article the other day, I think it was the Wall Street Journal, about people, or the Washington Post, about how people feel guilty because they've not only kept their heads above water, but they've profited. And there's so many people out there who want to make you feel guilty because you've done okay. And that's just stupid. But I get it. I mean, I totally, if you sit back for a second and you think you're not sure where you're going in the new year, as far as, is your business going to be shut down? Is it going to be halved? Are you going to have to take 2 jobs? Then yeah, I would be hesitant to spend money as well. Cut it back. But even people that are in a good position, I've talked to, they're like, this year, you know what? We're not going to really spend like we did before. Almost like if I go out and I buy something big and I've got the opportunity to take advantage of it, I would feel guilty in doing it because other people can't. No, don't go spend. It's the whole point. Putting money back into the economy. Spend. I think the average American's going to spend about $500 this year. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from all of you. Take the poll, tweet at us. Also threw some up there. We were talking about who Trump would pardon. And if I'm him and I'm on the way out, Tiger King. That guy looks fun. Let's get him out. See what he's all about. Is he a jerk? Is he a weirdo? Yeah, a little bit, probably of all those things. But Carol Baskin killed her husband, and she's not in jail, allegedly. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Having a very effective vaccine would help us achieve the so-called herd immunity, which would mean that if we have enough people who receive the vaccine and are protected against the virus, this could really be the beginning of the end of the pandemic.
Which is what we want, the end of the pandemic. I would say this guy's name. Phil, I'm going to read you. I'm going to spell his name. And then you would tell me if somebody's going to yell at me. O-G-B-U-A-G-U. Ogabuga? Right?
Abugu?
I don't know. I just feel like if you say it wrong, somebody's going to come after you and go, that was racist. So instead, I'll just call her Doctor. Thanks, Doc. Pandemic. The end is in sight, but we're still a ways away, right? We're still a ways away. We're going to get to herd immunity. I am not going to be one of those people that tell you when you listen to a lot of these things, that this thing was ever a hoax, because I am not that person. I think it has been overblown at times. I think we can all talk about that. Look at first, and I'll say this, even back in February, March, and April, we knew very little about this. So the fact that Trump says, I don't want to panic anybody. Look, we go out. The minute we started shutting things down, we bought every ounce of toilet paper we could find, because even though we knew you weren't going to have explosive diarrhea, somehow we thought, I don't need food. I need toilet paper. So yes. Think about this, right? People always talk to me about it. They still throw that thing. When Trump said he wanted to panic people, he knew. He didn't know like you think. Did you really think he knew everything? Like, either he's the dumbest man alive or the smartest man alive. Because you talk about the fact that he knew every single thing about this. But they didn't know back then. You had Fauci weeks earlier said, you don't need a mask. Americans don't panic. They don't? H.G. Wells did a radio broadcast, right? World War radio broadcast. H.G. Wells, right? Orson Welles read it live on air with things that came in at the beginning, bumpers, we'll call them, opens like we have, that said, and I quote, this is Orson Welles reading H.G. Wells, One of the Worlds. People panicked. We panic. So let's slow our roll. We're going to get there. But I'm not a panic guy. I'm not an emotional kind of cat. I've got one of those long fuses, but it also matches the explosion when it does happen. We need to be smart about this going forward, because what we have right now is the opportunity to get out of this year in a fashion where, while we weren't unscathed, and we felt it in every aspect and every nook and cranny of society, we can hit the ground running in 2021, build up speed, and by the time we hit March, April, May, we can be rocking and rolling. We need to get moving, and we need to be smart.
There is no time to waste. Kentucky just announced our highest ever weekly count of new positive cases. The numbers are troubling in places all across our country. So for now, our job is to continue doing all we can to stay safe and slow the spread. That's right. Stay safe, slow the spread. It's simple and it's easy. How do you do that? Common sense. Personal responsibility. Two things. Hey, there's 100 people in this room. I don't know any of them. Common sense says don't go in there at this moment in time. For me, even if we were fine, I'd be like, I'm not going in there. There's just too many people in one area for me. That's common sense. Common sense says, hey, you know what? I am a nurse or a doctor, and I have been around many patients, some of which are very sick with other things, as well as coronavirus. I'm not going to have a big Thanksgiving. I will keep it to the people that are closest to me who may live in my home, because I'm not going to ask them to go somewhere else. I'm not going to go visit grandma and grandpa, mom and dad. Little common sense. It's not that hard. It's not as common as you think. We need more of it. You know, it's funny, like CNN earlier today, I'm flipping around, and MSNBC. I go through the stations on my way to TV land. And they were like, South Dakota's governor refuses to implement a mask mandate. Well, do you feel you should wear a mask? Like, does the stores feel you should wear a mask? We don't have one here in Arizona, but everybody wears a mask. The mayors have all put them on. Everywhere I go, people wear masks. We're still having huge bumps we had another 2,500 today. 1 in 11 people in Maricopa County, in Phoenix, the Phoenix area, Maricopa County, 5th largest city in the country, have, you ready for this? They've got it. That is crazy. But if you feel that you're susceptible to something, then you know what you do? You be cautious. Personal responsibility. It's so nuts, this personal responsibility thing. It's wacky. I know. It's uncomfortable for some. Wait a minute. You want me to take responsibility for my own actions? Yes. Think outside the box.
100 people in a room. I don't know any of them. There's a pandemic going around. And while it's not the most deadly thing on earth, it does spread rather easily. And my grandmother lives with me, and she's not doing great. What should I do? I know. Run in and lick everybody? No. Maybe avoid. Should be simple. It's not. We as individuals, the beauty of our country that I try to explain to people is the way our Constitution is set up is we have our freedoms, our liberties. We don't want government involved in our lives. We don't want government mandating things. We want our government out of our lives. And how do we do that best? When we show personal responsibility. That's how we do it. Play a stupid game, as good producer Phil always says, win a stupid prize. And unfortunately, I see too many people winning prizes. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Love hearing from all of you. Got a poll question up. It has to do with the holidays. The holiday spirits. It is, kids, it's the holidays. Santa Claus is coming to town. But I'm asking you guys, what are you doing money-wise this year? Spending. How much? 2.8% of you say less than last year. 32% of you say about the same. 36% say less than previous, and bah humbug is 28%. 28%. So if you look at that, 54% of people are spending less or not spending at all. That's a scary thing. Understand about our economy. We need confidence. If you want to go spend, you want to have confidence you're going to have your job tomorrow. You want to have confidence that your business is going to be open. And right now we have way too much uncertainty in the marketplace, and that's not good. We need more confidence in the marketplace. People always ask me when I was a trader, and even now, what I look at when it comes to investing and things of that nature, but especially when it comes to a healthy economy. And my number one go-to is consumer confidence and consumer spending. If you're confident in something, I am confident this will work. That's the most important tell to me. Because that is every person. That's individuals across the board feel confident enough to go out and spend their money. And right now we don't have that because we have uncertainty. And when you look at the economy, what's the one thing we all participate in? It's the economy. Whether you like it or not, it's the economy. And right now, our economy's... Now, I do believe that once we see this vaccine actually implemented, it doesn't need to be to everybody. But once we see it get to our doctors, our nurses, the people who work around the hospital, once we see it get to our first responders and the elderly and the people who have comorbidities, once that first real step is made, that confidence will build. And it will take a little bit longer to get to where we would like it to get. But right now, there's still uncertainty. And with that comes no confidence. And people aren't spending. And if people aren't spending, what's not happening? The economy's not flowing. The economy's not flowing. You have uncertainty in what you're going to be doing, so you're not spending. And along the way it goes, and that trickle down, that domino effect that takes place, that's not good. I think right now we're lucky. This fourth quarter will bump a little bit, but it won't be anything like they were looking at. And that first quarter next year, I think, will be dicey. But I do believe the second and especially the third and fourth next year will be absolutely phenomenal. But it is going to take us a bit, and some of it has nothing to do with the actual day-to-day living and us getting back to normal. It has the belief that we're getting there and that you feel good about being able to rejoin society, spend like you used to, live like you used to without fear. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Hello, Fresh. Let me take a little pressure off you. Not me, per se. HelloFresh. So let's talk about HelloFresh. HelloFresh is delivered to your door contact-free. You get three choices. You got low calorie, which is currently what I'm on because Jack was here and he likes to eat, so that means I'm going to eat some snacks as well. And that's the family-friendly. The low calorie, oh my goodness me. It's good. It is, and it's simple. And the vegetarian. I've not tried the vegetarian, but I'm sure it's delicious. You get 22 chef-curated recipes each and every week. Family friendly is awesome. Low calorie is great. You don't feel hungry. Sourced directly from the growers, delivered what? Contact free to you. You don't have to worry about meal planning. So there's no opening the door in the pantry and looking and thinking, and then going back over to the refrigerator and go, opening the door and going, I guess if I did this and the kids. No, simple and easy. Planning is done. It's right there for you. It's like I call it a meal puzzle. You put it together. It's even got pictures on the recipe cards. In about 20, 25 minutes, right to the table it goes, and you can start eating. You save money, about 40% versus shopping at the grocery store, cutting food waste as well because the portions are right rather than oversized and you throw a bunch away. That's awesome. Right now, they've got a Black Friday sale at HelloFresh. At HelloFresh.com, there is a promo code Benson90. You use that. What do? You save $90, including free shipping, during HelloFresh's Black Friday sale. Limited time only. HelloFresh.com. Promo code Benson90. HelloFresh.com. Promo code Benson90. Chad Benson Show.
I'm so tired. I'm exhausted.
If you're part of the politically exhausted majority, don't fear. Your time to be validated and rejuvenated is here. Wake up. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Well, I'm waiting to see those numbers as they come back in. Again, things are changing. These are actually now a chance with these paper ballots that we're actually having observers be able to challenge and say, was there an overvote? Was there changes here? And we're waiting on that right now. But again, the question is, do we want 100% accuracy or do we want 98.5? And I think in our elections, people need to be assured that their ballot actually counts.
I'm all for that. I think most people are for that. And if you're not, you're an idiot. Right? That's Doug Collins, rep from Georgia right there. And it's frustrating because as far as I'm concerned, at this point in time, whatever proof you have, you better show it in court. And continuously, Trump is bringing lawsuit after lawsuit, and it's ending poorly for him over and over again.
Court cases out there, Jake.
I looked into a bunch of them, They're nonsense because the standard of evidence in a courtroom is a little higher than on Twitter. As Donald Trump says, we don't have any observers in that Philadelphia Convention Center counting room. And then somebody tries to present that in court and the judge says, how many do you have? How many observers? And the lawyer sheepishly says, we have this is a quote, there's a non-zero number of observers.
So some. And I believe the judge then said, get the out.
Right.
Now, they did find 2,600 ballots in Floyd County that had originally been tallied. It didn't change much, but it was net 1,800. 1,643 new votes that went for Trump and 865 for Biden. It's about an 800 jump there. And this was not an equipment issue. It's a person not executing their job properly, not nefarious. And remember, this is what I say. Incompetence, uninformed, poorly trained is not nefarious. But you're trying to overturn a ton. Give him Georgia if he wants. Doesn't change the score. Pennsylvania is what you need to focus on. What about Pennsylvania? You got ballots everywhere. What about Ohio, Rudy?
You start doing ballots like this. You start doing ballots like this. You start doing ballots like this.
He's fun. Look, it's frustrating for people out there who support Trump. It is. And it's frustrating for people out there who are on the left side of the aisle who saw state houses get flipped, who saw governorships get flipped, who thought that they were going to just absolutely crush in the congressional seats and pick up more, and you saw that not happen, who thought that they were going to easily flip the Senate, and that hasn't happened. Count them, recount them. Do what you think you need to do. But I always say this and I'll continue. Show me the proof. Show me that smoking gun. Show me that thing that is tremendous, that says, oh my God, not only have they cheated, they have perpetrated the greatest act of treason and sedition we have ever seen in our country by stealing the presidency. And for that, they will pay. But you have to have proof. You saying this and then getting in front of court and you uttering the words, well, it's not zero. How many people were in there? Was it zero? It's not zero, but it's not zero. When it comes to observers, that's not a win. And when you've got places like Georgia, which is run by Republicans, Arizona, which is a mixed bag, but your best buddy Ducey runs the state, and you're complaining about certain things, that's a problem. Show me the proof, and I'll be all over it. But the boy who cried wolf, and then you get in there and you find out that, hey, well, Chad, but eventually the boy finds out there is a wolf. Yeah, eventually. Eventually, but run out of time. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. It's the Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
The biggest question for me is, are people going to want to get it? It is one of the biggest concerns for me, because the survey data I've been seeing is that there is a lot of fear about the vaccines that have come through for a number of reasons. There have been growing vaccine hesitancy in the country, but also all of the politics around how things get approved. The percentage of people who've been saying, I want to wait on this, has been growing and growing.
Yeah. And the reason is because you've got, as bad as Trump is, and he's so evil, and he's not, but you guys are living in a world of, hey, words matter more than actions. The reality is you've got people on the left that are out there going, I'm not going to take this because it's under Trump's administration. And I know that he's coming up with all these things. He's in there with Beaker from the Muppets, right? And he's in there and he's doing stuff. He's all me. And he and Trump are putting this thing together, and it's not even real. It's not. It's like applesauce. And then he mixed it with some water. You're like, what? And then it's saline with different colors in it that he shot it with food dye. It's not even real. No, it's not. It's not that. Pfizer, real company. Before Trump, there was Pfizer. After Trump, there'll be Pfizer. Moderna, been around. Biotech, uns, the German company, been here for a while. They're not going to put these things out without making sure that they're sound, because they don't want to hit to their stock. Durr. They don't want to kill anybody. Durr. That's bad business. It is. It is. It's very bad business. Okay? Now, there's a lady who actually went. She had the actual Moderna, full, actual, not placebo, but the whole process done as part of one of the test subjects.
There's a physical. They take blood samples. They do a nasopharyngeal swab that makes you see sparks. You know, they're really up there. And then after that, they give you a shot.
There you go. You get a shot. How is the shot?
My arm was stiff. I work out with a personal trainer, and I couldn't lift 8 pounds over my head without feeling some pain.
A little bit of pain. You expect these things. Right? You expect these things. There's some things, you remember when we were talking about this thing, when they paused a few of these? Because there's certain things they expect when they do something like this. They expect that you may be lethargic. They expect there may be some bruising or pain and swelling around the area where you've got a shot. They expect that you might have a little bit of a fever, maybe a headache. Those are things that they expect. Explosive diarrhea. Your arm falls off. Totally unexpected. Totally unexpected. So these are things that they expect.
I got a slight fever that during the day that rose to 100.3 degrees by supper time, and I just felt lousy and went to bed.
Lousy and went to bed. What else?
Then I was really tired. I took a nap like at 10 o'clock in the morning.
I'm all for naps. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a beautiful thing. At the end of the day, these are things that people expect. We need to make sure that when this thing is available and ready, if you feel comfortable, you go take it. There are three types of people out there. Explain it again. You get the average person who's going to go take this thing, right? Those don't count as these three that are ready, raring to go. Boom. I like to give things a while, but I want to get my life back at this point in time. So I'd be out there, and I got no problem taking it. One of my other producers, Lloyd, comes in yesterday, and he goes, "Hey, Chad, if somebody walked off the streets and wanted to give you the vaccine," I'm like, well, let's back this up. You know, what do you mean, would I take it? Somebody comes in here, jeans and a T-shirt, hat flipped backwards, trench coat, has a needle full of something. No, I'm going to give a hard pass on that. Appreciate the effort, though. But if I could go to my doctor or to CVS or Walgreens and they're offering it, would I take it? Yes. Two different things. Now you have the other three. The first one is the QAnon people. You know who you are. I don't need to explain it, but, you know, you expect there's a microchip inside of there and they're going to control you. Then you've got the Jenny McCarthy's of the world, which is the plague deniers, who won't take any of this because something's going to happen to you or your child, and so they'll pass on all of this because the mommy vlog told them not to several years ago. Then you have the cautious, but probably more than likely 9 out of 10 will eventually take it, but want to see it out there first working, and as soon as they realize it's safe, they'll go and take it. Those are the three, besides the, yeah, give it to me, people. And it will happen, and we'll get there. I know I'm totally going to get it. Because whatever, and I'm not even like, you're not even anti-vax. Like, for some things, I think we over-vaccinate for. But there's just like, you know, your kid doesn't need polio. You don't need retro diseases. Dude, your kid is so retro. Your kid caught polio. Solid. You don't. The anti-vaxxers who believe that everything is going to get them sick. I think that we live in a modern world. It's part of that bubble we've talked about before, where we live in this bubble where we see a shooting spree somewhere, and we live in this bubble because it's breached our bubble. But then when you go and do the research, because we're inundated 24/7 with news, we have a tendency to doom scroll. We force ourselves to look at the most negative things because that's the algorithm, and it's set up in such a way that it feeds to our fears and negativity. And I think it goes the same way with nowadays kids growing up. Man, all of you who are my age, a little bit younger, a little bit older, you grew up in a world of filth, flargon, and filth. You were dirty. You ran around and you played all day. You scraped your knees. You didn't get a shot for everything. Producer Phil, you and I were BMX guys, right? We liked riding our BMX bikes. How many times did you have a BMX bike that you rode, you fell on your shoulder, oh my God, the pedal came up and scraped the hell out of your ankles. Your mom didn't put everything on that.
No, heck no.
No. You were out there. You were living life. Now we've got a world of everything is hermetically sealed. Every kid is bubble wrapped. And there is something to that. It's crazy, but there is something to that. I always say for the craziness of my life and how I grew up, I do thank my mom for letting me grow up at times at filth, flargon, and filth, because I don't worry as much that other people do. And if you go look at my family across the board, you know, I've got a little brother who is severely handicapped. He breathes through a tube in his throat. He's got a trach. He eats through his stomach. He's got brain damage. He never misses a day of school. My mother sends him, and she would send him today without hesitant or worried because she's not worried about him being sick, when other people would freak out about that. And the doctor's like, his immune system is through the roof. I'm like, that's because you let him live in filth, Mary. I'm just letting you guys know. But there is something to over-cleanliness. And I'm not talking about your house. I'm just talking about in general, where, you know, you go outside. Your biggest organ is your skin, and we spend our entire time now scrubbing it, antibacterial, and doing all these kind of things when that's going to be your best fighter overall. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. On display again today, social media. Battling it out with politicians. Lindsey Graham.
My hope is that we change Section 230 to incentivize social media platforms to come up with standards that are transparent and opaque that will allow us to make judgments about their judgments.
1996, law came about. Section 230 inside of this thing provides immunity for website publishers from third-party content. No provider or user of interactive computer services shall be treated as the publisher or speaker of any information provided by another information content provider. Translation, they're not held liable or responsible for anything that's on their sites. So they're not liable, they're not responsible. And you're getting a lot of people who are stepping back and starting to say, hey, you know what? Especially Republicans who would normally be like, you know what? You shouldn't be liable. You shouldn't be responsible. But what you're seeing is too many of them are getting frustrated by the fact that they feel like they're being banned for everything. They feel like they're being, whether it's completely deplatformed or they're banned every once in a great while and they're having to, it's nuts. And I feel it. Let me tell you something. I'm as down the middle. I choose my sides on issues. Outside of that, I start at zero. And then I go pick the direction based on stuff. You will get, I don't think, too many other people out there that is open-minded and is fair. But we've had ours. We've had bans over stuff that is completely as beige as it gets. Are there crazies out there? Yes. Do I need the government to tell me what I should and shouldn't see? No. But you're going to get that.
We got to find a way to make sure that when Twitter and Facebook make a decision about what's reliable and what's not, what to keep up and what to take down, that there's transparency in the system. And I think Section 230 has to be changed because we can't get there from here without change.
Yeah. Richard Blumenthal talking about it.
Every day he posts new threats and conspiracy theories about mail-in ballots and voting machines, lies that contradict his own election security officials and his lawyers.
That's Trump he's talking about, Blumenthal, and social media.
We meet today in an unprecedented and precarious moment in American history. Daily, the president shocks our conscience and shakes the very foundations of our democracy using a powerful megaphone, social media.
Yeah. But are you the one that needs to legislate that? Look, if you're influenced by a meme or somebody who's throwing stuff out there and you're not willing to challenge that maybe this person is not actually giving you the truth, if you are only seeking affirmation, not information, if you're not willing to do a little bit of the legwork and you're going to be fooled by a meme or some bizarre person on YouTube or Facebook or wherever, that's a you problem. We need to stop protecting the stupid. And that's on both sides. It is. We need to stop protecting the stupid and allow them to make whatever decisions they're going to make based on a meme. And I feel like we're having to protect the stupid all too often and the lazy. Some people are ignorant because they would get it if you showed it to them, and they wouldn't fight back if you showed them the truth. And they're open-minded enough, but, Some people are just lazy, which makes them ignorant. And other people, well, quite frankly, they're just stupid. And you can't fix it, as Bill Engvall said. Here's your sign. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from you. Even Zuckerberg chiming in.
We've taken down more than 100 networks of bad actors who are trying to coordinate and interfere globally. We established a network of independent fact checkers that covers more than 60 languages. We made political advertising more transparent on Facebook than anywhere else.
Yeah. And by the way, if you're going to take down a bad actor, don't make it Nicolas Cage because he is the best bad actor we have. That's all I'm saying. I don't think we need to be protected from social media. If you're fooled by social media, I think that's kind of a you thing. I do. I go back to the fact that H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds was read aloud and acted out on Halloween night, those many years ago, by Orson Welles. And people were fooled by that. I believe even when they were told it wasn't real, they still bought into it. Sometimes it's just nature saying, you can't fix stupid because nature will mess you up. AMAC, Association of Mature American Citizens, fastest growing over 50 organization in the country. We know we're at a crossroads right here. A lot of people out there tearing down America. AMAC's here to make sure that it's not going anywhere. That it's here. That they're fighting for our rights, especially for their First Amendment, Second Amendment, as we talk about things like that. I partner with them, and they're out there fighting. They also want to make sure that you have the things that you've paid in for. Social Security, absolutely. 100%. Medicare, 110%. That it's not going anywhere. That our individual liberties are protected. Our Constitution is protected. On top of that, they offer benefits, too numerous to mention. Retail, restaurant, hotel discounts, and so many more, travel discounts. And if you need help with Medicare, Social Security, you have questions, they'll help you with that. Join with them. Go to amac.us/Chad, amac.us/Chad. Join today. Benefits of the membership are incredible. Join AMAC today, amac.us/Chad. It's pennies, like 19 cents a day, and you're going to get a lot more out of that. amac.us/Chad, Chad Benson Show.
Don't let the Washington Beltway strangle you. This is where the exhausted majority comes to refuel, realign, and reevaluate. This is Chad Benson.
Well, like most everything else in 2020, the holidays will look and feel different this year.
Yeah, but one thing will stay the same, gratefully. Santa Claus is coming to town and to area malls as well.
Sarah Bloomquist joins us live in studio again with how shopping centers plan to keep both St. Nick and his fans happy.
So Sarah goes out. She's going to explain to everybody how cool this is going to be this year in a very weird way that Santa's going to be there. So Santa's going to be there. And if you like your Santa in a penalty box, or maybe behind plexiglass, like you're talking to somebody at prison, you're going to love Santa.
That's right. Santa Claus is coming to town and bringing his plexiglass barrier with him. The jolly old elf and his reindeer arrive at...
First of all, he's not an elf, all right? He's not an elf. Sarah, already you've failed, and we recognize that. I know this is pandemic times, but come on now.
The jolly old elf and his reindeer arrive at area malls to kick off the holiday season. It's not going to look like this. We're in a pandemic, so sitting on laps is frowned upon and not safe considering Santa's age. So instead, this photo gives you an idea of what the Santa experience will look like.
And like I said, have you ever seen those movies where somebody sits down and they have the phone and there's another phone on the other side of the plexiglass and they put their hands up and they tell you to pick up the phone. Pick up the phone. It's kind of like that. What does Santa want for... Well, apparently Santa wants to be bailed out.
Just imagine your smiling children in the place of those two adorable kid cutouts. Santa will be stationed behind a plexiglass protection shield with a bench in front for visitors to sit. When it's time for pictures, guests and Santa are permitted to remove their masks for a quick snap, a little different than in years past. You will also be able to interact with Santa from the comfort of your own home. Make a reservation and you can join a special 5-minute one-on-one Zoom call with Santa and record the call to forever remember Christmas in the time of COVID.
By the way, that's kind of cool anyways. I could see that, but the plexiglass, it's so frustrating. I get it. It's frustrating. We have to be wary, especially because Santa, who's awesome and invincible, not going to get sick. We don't want Santa sick. He's got a lot of stuff to do. 323-538-2423. It's your text line. Chad Benson Show TV's YouTube. Check out Facebook, Instagram at Chad Benson Show, and Twitter as well. You guys have a good one. It's Tuesday. You know what that means. Get yourself some tacos. Night, Jack.
This is The Chad Benson Show.